Hey, what's up? It's so good to see you. How long has it been? Oh, you've graduated university?
Can we get much baby boss?
Oh, you've gotten married? Oh, you retired? Oh, died? You've died? All in the time it took little old me to post a new video? Well, I'm so flattered that you've been waiting eagerly for my highly anticipated return. I'm anti-extra, but you can call me anti-extra. I'm not your friend. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard of the Unity controversy that occurred recently. To summarize, the team behind the Unity game engine basically decided they want to steal their developers' financial life savings, and in the process enraged the entire video game community. Gamers rose up and protested. I believe that if we really wanted to, us gamers could take over the world. Well, anyway, did you know that the current Unity CEO is actually a former EA CEO? Isn't that ironic? The two notoriously money-hungry companies have had the same leadership. His name is John Riccitiello. I don't know, that's probably some Italian shit, mamma mia. No offense to the Sicilian mafia, please don't hunt me down, I'm still but a child. So, our friend John has said some pretty out-of-pocket shit back in the day. For example, he once suggested this brain rot idea at a stakeholder meeting.
The second thing, and this is a point that I think might be lost on many, is a big and substantial portion of digital revenues are microtransactions. When you are 6 hours into playing Battlefield and you run out of ammo in your clip and we ask you for $1 to reload, you're really not very price sensitive at that point in time. And for what it's worth, the cogs on the clip really low. And so, essentially what ends up happening, and the reason the play first, pay later model works so nicely, is the consumer gets engaged in a property. They might spend 10, 20, 30, 50 hours on the game. And then when they're deep into the game, they're well invested in it. We're not gouging, but we're charging. And at that point in time, the commitment can be pretty high.
Jonathan really thought us stinky, slobbering gamers wouldn't care about our wallets as long as we were in an intense match of Battlefield. Well, I can't speak for other people who play games because NBA 2K is still published annually and people buy into that shit each time. But as for myself, if I were to get a pop-up in the middle of a game telling me that I have to pay $1 per bullet, brother, I'm doing Alt F4 and immediately uninstalling that shit. I paid $60 for your game and I bought the console to play it on for a few $100s as well. There is no chance that you can force me, threaten me even, to spend more money. Now, there's a difference between the microtransactions that we typically see in games nowadays and the glorious vision that John had for the future of gaming. I mean, Fortnite has V-Bucks, but it doesn't cost money to join a match. That's actually some Mr. Krabs shit right there. Oh, and the icing on the cake? John ended up calling other developers out who didn't like his idea for the future of gaming. In fact, he called them idiots. That's a direct quote, by the way. But after recently learning about John Italiano's dark past, I decided to look into more gaming CEOs who are ironically really out of touch with the industry that they're in charge of. So let's take a peek at a few more of these rich little goofballs, like the former CEO of Nintendo, Hiroshi Yamauchi, who was notorious for making some rather silly statements back when he sat on his golden throne, like when he claimed that people who play RPGs are depressed gamers who like to sit alone in their dark rooms and play slow games. I mean, he was kinda cooking with that one, no? But unfortunately, Yamauchi stopped cooking. He actually burnt the dish by stating that RPG games are silly and boring. Now, in my eyes, that's an unforgivable sin. That's like breaking one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not bash role-playing games, as RPGs are the best video game genre in the world. And I know everything is classed as an RPG now, but I'm talking about the proper shit, like the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I also don't really know what he meant by calling them silly, as if an Italian plumber jumping on pieces of shit isn't the goofiest concept ever. Ironically, Yamauchi was known for his disinterest in playing playing video games, and instead he stuck to normal board games. Yeah, sure, he's qualified to be the voice of gaming, when all he plays is Monopoly or something. Oh, and even better, Yamauchi claimed that certain Western companies, referencing Microsoft, didn't understand the video game industry. I mean, you kind of have to respect him at that point. Brother enters an industry he doesn't give a shit about, and calls out rivals for not knowing anything about said industry. Granted, he did kind of lay the foundation for what Nintendo would become, as he's credited with Nintendo making the switch from board games to just video game hardware and software, which is similar to our next lovely CEO, Ken Kutaragi, former chairman and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. This man's is praised for innovating in the gaming space, as he's commonly credited with being the creator, the founding father of the PlayStation 1. Isn't it funny that all of these innovators are actually poor delusional souls? Just like our man Yamauchi, Ken Kutaragi has made some pretty crazy statements, such as claiming that the PS3 is not a game machine. We've never once called it a game machine. With the PS3, our intentions have been to create a machine with supercomputer calculation capabilities for home entertainment. This is actually a very unknown fact, but the PS3 is actually what powers up our everyday lives. News broadcasts, billboards, nuclear power plants are all actually powered via the PlayStation 3. There was never such thing as quantum computers, only the PS3. Despite all that, the PS3 is lacking in the backwards compatibility department. Ken's explanation? I would like my car to fly and make me breakfast, but that's an unrealistic expectation. So you can call your console a supercomputer, but playing older games is where you draw the line with its capabilities? What does that make the Xbox 360? Maybe that was the first quantum computer all along, because that can run games from the OG Xbox, as can every Xbox after the 360. So how much money did it cost you to buy the PS3 during launch? Naturally, it was $600 for this supercomputer, which, I mean, is perfectly understandable. They're actually giving you a bargain for what you get with that $600. Some goofballs were less than understanding of this pricing, however, to which Ken responded, "We want for consumers to think to themselves, I will work more hours to buy one. So what if you can't afford rent for that month? At least you can power up some of the world's most demanding software, such as Netflix and Little Big Planet." And on the topic of pricing, Capcom's current CEO, Kenzo Sugimoto, actually believed that video games are too cheap nowadays. Ah yes, that's exactly what all of us were thinking actually. Especially after AAA game prices were increased to $70 for the first time in like actual decades. What we need right now is for those numbers to be bumped up even more. Those are rookie numbers. It's honestly hilarious that after spending thousands of dollars on getting a PC that can run modern AAA titles, you've got this douchebag who believes games are too cheap. We're currently in this looping spiral of new game comes out, has a battle pass, has multiple microtransactions, sometimes isn't even worth buying because it's in an unfinished state. And then you've got this guy right here, saying games should be worth more. That's actually hysterical. But, I mean, I can respect a man that wants to make some extra bread. Get your money up, not your funny up. I like bread just as much as the next guy. Actually, I'd go as far as to say that I like bread more than anyone else. White bread, black bread, toasted bread,
Texas born bread.
Wait, that's all for today though. I could honestly keep going on and on about these brainless CEOs, but maybe that's for another video. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments, so if you have any in that empty skull of yours, go ahead and transmit them to me down below, and subscribe.